Welcome to another Backroads West virtual road trip. On this one, we're going to take you on a scenic drive into a canyon that was carved out by one of the biggest tributaries on the Colorado River system called the Green River. Our trip starts in the small town of the river's namesake, Green River, in Utah, which is located on the busy travel corridor of Interstate 70. It's a nice little town, and will give you some interesting places to see and visit while you're here. The road we're taking on this trip is only 18 miles long one way. The first 10 miles are paved, and the last 8 miles are dirt. The dirt segment is usually well maintained, meaning most vehicles can drive it. A few miles down the road, the landscape begins to change. You'll first pass a series of striking buttes and cliffs. Then, gradually, those same cliffs close in around you, forming the walls of the canyon as the road winds through them. These impressive formations are known as the Book Cliffs and stretch all the way from Price, Utah to Grand Junction, Colorado, a distance of almost 200 miles or 320 kilometers. The town of Green River is located along a remote stretch of I-70, making it a fuel and rest stop for a lot of travelers. Green River is located 160 miles east of I-70's western terminus with Interstate 15, and just 20 miles from the turnoff to the popular tourist destination of Moab. What most of the travelers don't realize, though, is that there is a lot of history and character to explore in this little town. One of the town's top attractions is the John Wesley Powell Museum. The museum is located on the main road, US Highway 6, where it crosses over the Green River. You can't miss it. If the history of the American Southwest and the adventures of running big rivers like the Green in Colorado interest you, then you should definitely consider visiting the museum. We've been to several other museums on the same topics, and this one was by far the best. If you don't know who John Wesley Powell is, then let me give you a quick synopsis. I always tell everyone that he was the 19th century version of Neil Armstrong. You know, that first guy to walk on the moon? Well, Powell and his team were the first group of men to float all the way down the Green and Colorado rivers, which at the time included passing through what was called the Great Unknown. Today we know this area as the Grand Canyon, Canyonlands, and the canyon we are about to drive up. The first difficult canyon Powell and his crew tackled is called Desolation Canyon. It was Powell who named this canyon. Where we're going in a moment is the tail end of Desolation Canyon, known locally as Gray Canyon. The main reason for this expedition was to survey and map the area. So, when the party entered the Grand Canyon, Powell and one of his crew had to climb all the way out of the canyon almost every day, just to take a reading with a sextant to see where they were and to survey the surrounding landscape. As hard as that sounds, Powell had lost an arm during the Civil War. Can you imagine trying to climb out of this kind of terrain with one arm? Hard to believe, but it's true. All throughout their expedition, Powell and his crew ran into numerous life-threatening situations. Further along in his trip, Powell wasn't heard from for over 6 months, and everyone figured the party was lost and had died. But they showed up, many months overdue, at the confluence of the Colorado and Virgin Rivers, then rode into St. George, Utah, much to everyone's surprise. The whole story of the 1869 Powell expedition is a real-life adventure that we found riveting. Unlike Armstrong, Powell couldn't radio in and say,
"Houston, we have a problem."
Hopefully, this brief introduction to the Powell expedition is enough to entice you to visit this well-organized museum here in Green River. Another great thing about this area is that the farmland around Green River produces an assortment of different vegetables depending on the season. In the summer, they have some of the best melons you've ever tasted. In the fall, when we were there, they have lots of colorful squash and pumpkins. Be sure to stop by some of the local farm stands on the main road and try some of their delicious farm-fresh produce. As mentioned, the road trip we'll be on shortly is only 18 miles one way, and it's a dead end, so you'll see it going up canyon, then again going down canyon. But trust us, both ways, you'll see unique and spectacular views. Our trip up Gray Canyon starts a half-mile east of the Powell Museum on what's signed as Hastings Road. In the next few miles, as we head north on Hastings Road, we'll see some farmland where many of those melons and vegetables are grown. Someone's great collection of old trucks. We had the owner's permission to take these shots on their private property. And this huge cornfield that can only be appreciated from above, like this. No, we didn't see a frightened Cary Grant running into it to escape an angry crop duster plane. This particular view gives you an idea how extensive these cornfields are. Where we live in the St. George area, we look forward to finding the great produce from this area at our local farmers markets every summer. This scene also provides a great view of the Book Cliffs as they head off east into the far distance towards Grand Junction, Colorado. All right, let's get started by continuing our drive on Hastings Road from those cornfields. One butte that really caught our eye when entering Gray Canyon was this one, Gunnison Butte. When we made this trip, we had just visited Rome, Italy about 6 months previously and thought, wow, if we orientate this view in reverse, it kind of reminds us of the Roman Colosseum. On our way back, or down canyon, we saw this group of river runners that were close to completing their long journey through Desolation Canyon. The majority of them were using classic dory boats, used in early expeditions like Powell's. And soon we see the backside of Gunnison Butte in the distance, signifying the end of Gray Canyon for us. We hope you enjoyed this short but sweet trip up Gray Canyon alongside the Green River. So, until our next journey, we bid you happy exploring.